Good. Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Wednesday the 29th of March. So looking at the markets this morning then, and we're starting off, actually let's look at the news events this morning. First things first, of course, Wednesday we've had the Australian CPI, Consumer Price Index out. Where are we? There we go. It came in lower than expected. It explains why the Aussie's off this morning then. Inflation there running slightly lower than expected. They are talking about relaxing the increases in rates, so that will help their case and show that maybe they're on track for bringing this inflation data down. That's it for today. Morning, guys. So that's it for today. So nothing else there. We haven't got a big week in data at all. Friday could it's not so much the data, it could be that we see some rebalancing of positions, and we could see that as we go through this week. Morning, Ritu. So let's have a look at the markets then in some detail. Look at the currency markets first, and well, the euro is largely going up, I suppose. Overall, yesterday it continued its drift up there. This morning it's rolled back somewhat. However, only as far as the pivot really. It's gone through it marginally, but this could be changing scope for its R1 this morning. Looking quite clean shape at the moment, so we could see a continuation of this move. It's been running nicely. That looks quite good for the morning. Just highlighting that. The pound, well, the pound started moving already. Let's just come out to the higher time frames, and the pound was really leading things a little bit yesterday, pushing up there. It's been dancing around its prior highs there. It's struggling. It's come out a little bit here, but it's only the near-term highs. There's some highs higher up. So it momentarily closed above it but pulled off. But again, we're just seeing it running through its daily pivot at the moment, and it's a bit of a flaggy pound, a little bit more messy, but again got scope for its R1 this morning. So we've got a couple there that are looking okay. Now we've seen data, and we've seen things happening in Asia, and the yen's off this morning. Good job too if you were in my trade from yesterday. It took forever, but eventually got up and hit target. So actually it wasn't on the US dollar yen at all. It was similar on the yen. Anyway, it was the euro yen. The other markets here, Aussie dollar, well, falling a little bit on that lower inflation. It's not looking particularly strong. I've got a feeling with what else is going on there, this could be one of the fastest ones to fall, if given the excuse. Well, it's whether or not the US dollar would back up more. Canadian dollar, well, similar sort of inverted picture to the other markets here. Maybe had a little bit more of a push there yesterday, but it's got scope. I say yesterday. It was yesterday. It's got scope to come back into its pivot. I'm sort of looking at the US dollar CAD. I've come here on the shorter time frames. I'm really coming up the time frames here. I'm still waiting. I was talking about the Gartley yesterday, and it's on this huge move that runs through here. It's a very weak signal, sign of weakness overall. And it's basically two failed highs, and effectively in the bigger picture is why it's weaker, and now it's sort of closed below this sort of key pivotal area. I've drawn this on badly across the tops there, but I've had to move it slightly on this end so you could see that the S1 is there. Now it might run into its S1 and roll over. For me, that would be quite interesting, but I'm really looking at this on the bigger time frames, whether it'll move further down back towards the recent highs. So we might be looking at that for more of a position trade later. Right. Sorry, got a question here. How do you get the MS 4-hour pivots on TradingView? You can find me on TradingView, and I'll give you them. But I'm actually just working on them at the moment. But just sign into my either Discord, Telegram. Find me somewhere on TradingView, Kim Watson. It's easy. I think it's Kim Watson Trader on there. Anyway, and I'll once they're completed, okay, I'll share them with you. Euro yen. Sorry, Euro yen. So this is daily view of the Euro yen pushing up here. Higher lows through there. So yesterday in the trading room, called a long around about this level. It was only a 1.3 multiple. It finally, I mean, it spent the whole day and evening and into this morning, early hours this morning, before it finally pushed into target. Wasn't a big target on it. I wasn't expecting it to go far. It's a particular strategy I was using, which it hit the strategy target. That was that. But this has got potential more upside. It hasn't caught the daily pivot, but it has caught both R1 and R2, so I'll leave it like that. That's nothing for me to do with it quite yet. It might set up more signals later. It's the only currency I trade one particular strategy on because it works well. The Euro Aussie, well, nothing cooking here for me this morning. It's consolidated on it now. At some stages could break out through the highs and continue, but it's just too much of a mess, so we'll leave that. Well, we'll leave that alone. You go ahead and trade it if you want. Euro CAD. Now, I was sort of looking at this and thinking, well, maybe it's got some scope for some downside, and it has relaxed somewhat, and it's looking softer on this 4 hours. It's just fractionally broken the lower high, so it's given us a lower high just, I think. There you go, you can see a little clearer on here. In fact, there's a few lower highs in there. I would like to have seen it run up to its pivot and would short into its pivot, but on the breakdown then towards its S1, but not the most perfect shape at the moment. Okay, I'm going to leave it there because I'm going to run through these this morning in my trading room. The rest of them, there's at least the euro and the pound both giving us sort of bullish flags, which might trigger at post 8 o'clock. I wouldn't be jumping into them too early. So flicking onto the other markets, and we'll have a look at the indices. And before we do that, quick look at gold, of course. Let's have a look from a daily perspective here. So did manage an update yesterday. It's consolidated. You can see it's starting to form a bit of a wedge on the top here, with lower highs, higher lows sort of thing here. But it's just calmed down. The banking crisis may be calming down a little bit, although Biden said it's not over yet yesterday, so that probably means it might be over then. He probably slept and missed it. But it's still a risk, of course, the banking crisis, but we're seeing other stocks rolling over, which I'll talk about in a moment. So yeah, gold coming off there, and I'm not really trusting what I'm seeing in it at the moment. Looking across then at crude. And crude oil continues to make its recovery. I was looking to see, I was talking about the prior lows here, whether this will be pivotal and whether it will find resistance here. Where it's certainly slowed into this area. It's whether or not it manages to push up beyond that. It's already through its R1, so it's a reasonable probability of running to its R2. Yeah, it could be in for a more of a recovery there. That's on the weekly basis I was looking then, and looking here at the dailies. Well, we'll look at it. I'd look at that later on today, but chopping a little bit sidewards, a bit ugly there on the dailies yesterday. Not really doing too much, but as I say, still pushing up. Right, let's just look a quick look through the Asian markets. There was some positivity kicking through. China's had the better kick through. You can't actually believe that this was this market closed up on yesterday. However, the overall picture is still looking pretty bearish to me. So it's a bit, that's the CSI 300, still quite bearish. The Nikkei, on the other hand, did manage something which the flags died off by looks of things. It's broken those prior highs from over here. It's right the way through. It's a monthly R1 again. Maybe it's going back towards the tops there, but certainly looking much better than it did. Nifty 50 still, to me, bearish looking, just as the CSI 300 is. This is looking the weakest. So at one stage running the strongest, now the weakest. Looking over to the States and the US 500, the S&P's futures here. On the dailies, it's still really a mess. Yesterday, horrible picture, and choppy old market. What it is doing is gradually working out higher lows and higher highs, and it's pushed up already to its R1 today. Maybe the R2's on the board, as it hasn't hit the daily pivot. So looking positive-ish there. The Dow following it slowly behind, but I mean, it's from a really low point. Effectively, they could just topple over quite quickly. I'm certainly not hanging the flag out bullish there. Now the tech stocks, the Nasdaq, the biggest of them all, yesterday actually ended up selling off. It's being bought back a bit at the moment, but ended up another sell-off there. Struggling around these prior highs, maybe consolidation. But there was a number of the big tech stocks sold yesterday, but it's not really going too far, and it might yet come and break those highs. I'm sort of remaining a tad on the bullish side there. The German market, then, the DAX, he says it's been in quite a choppy mess. I'm just looking at this. The easiest thing the eye says is further potential upside here, and a break this morning of those prior highs there. Could see it running up towards its weekly R1. Hasn't really looked at the weekly pivot this week, so we'll see how it goes. But it does just look like it's got a bit more of a spring in the step at the moment. The FTSE futures price up here this morning. Yesterday was definitely a down day, as again it's a bit of a mess now. As I say, a bit of a mess. It's been largely sold off. It's in this sort of range again, with looking a bit of a wedge sort of pattern again. Is it going to push up there? If it can and break these highs, then it becomes more of a buy again. But for now, I'll sit my hands on the bigger picture there at least. Okay, it's that day of the week that I look at crypto, so I will. So let's have a look then. Bitcoin. Good news for this morning, but overall the picture is consolidation. Consolidation around the high is not a bad thing, and it's consolidating around its high, so it could have some more upside for those that are more holders on it, as opposed to those that are trying to intraday trade it. Ethereum, again, similar picture. Where's Raspberry Ripple? Ripple outperforming here at the moment then, and again pushing up today, so decent movements there. In fact, to come out to the weekly to have a look at this, this is actually running into prior highs here now, so it's had a decent old move there. So yeah, there we go. It's moving pretty decently at the moment. Ripple leading the way. Okay, that's pretty much it for me. Looking, as I say, that's looking quite bullish. I'll leave it there. I'll catch you if you're not in the room today. I'll catch you tomorrow. Take care. Bye for now.